Hello and welcome to my website, ulumab.com. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Jr. Ikonne and I am the owner and founder of the Ulumma B Nigerian Igbo restaurant and bar brand. Some of you know my story and how Ulumma B came about. For those of you who do not know, I'm really happy to share my story with you. It is a story of love. I think that's the most succinct way of putting it. I am very close to my mother and I'm very close to my sister. They were two women in my life who I call my sheroes. My mum, a very kind woman, very God-fearing, and she was a healer. And my sister also, she was a healer. She was a nurse back in Nigeria. She worked in Lagos. Both my parents and my sisters were born in Owerri in Nigeria. And my sister, she was a nurse, I think over 35 years, from student nurse, which I remember, right up to being a matron. And she was credited for never losing a patient, which, you know, that's kind of a really good feat for someone who's been in the medical profession for over 30 years and knowing how people can easily pass on. Now, my mother and my sister, they taught me how to be a man. They taught me how to respect women. It wasn't a case of they sat me down and taught me by numbers. It was just simply how they nurtured me and the interaction that I had with them. One of the key things that my mum taught me was kindness. Kindness to her was a benchmark of how she judged people. Are you kind to other human beings? Do you do things for other people without any expectations of return? I mean, this was kind of her mantra. And I took care of her, I mean, for over 25 years. Her, my father and my brother Emmanuel, he's a lovely man. He had mental health challenges since the age of 21, so roughly 30 years he's been dealing with his mental health challenges. But he's still with us. Now, in 2008, February of 2008, my sister died of ovarian cancer. And in 2011, my mother passed away with a stroke. Now, this was devastating for me. I called the loss of my mother my impossible pain. It was a void, a vacuum that couldn't be filled. It took me years to realize that I didn't actually have to fill that vacuum. You know, when you know someone is passing, and they know they're passing, you could sit by their bedside and they will tell you all the things you want to hear, their last words of wisdom, telling you you were a great son, telling you that they really appreciated all the things that you did for them. And I never had that because my mother passed away and I was asleep. I got a phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning, my father telling me that my mother he thinks she has died. And that was really difficult because Mum and I, we talked every single day and we shared every single day. So I felt denied. The thing is, it took me 3 years to actually work out this. The 40 odd years I was her son and the 40 odd years she was my mother, all the things that ever needed to be said, that I ever needed to hear, was said in those 40 years. Whether they were in words or gesture, body language or action. And I realized I didn't need those words at the end. Because if I really looked at our relationship, she told me those things every single day. And for that, I am blessed. My sister B, when she passed away, I was in the UK and she was in Nigeria. She knew she only had 6 months to live and she never told me. She knew that when she was in hospital and she said she went for an exploratory operation, she didn't tell me they were exploring for how far the cancer had metastasized in her body. In fact, it's only when she stopped talking somebody had to tell me that your sister is dying of cancer. And a few days after I got that information, she passed away. I didn't go to the funeral because I was born in the UK and I had commitments here, and because it was such short notice, I didn't have the opportunity to fly to Nigeria and be part of the goodbye ceremony. In a weird way, I was glad I didn't go because it allowed me to maintain a fantasy that my sister was still alive in Nigeria. She just broke her phone. NEPA had taken light once again or she'd forgotten my phone number. I didn't really want to accept that she had gone, and I eventually visited where she was buried, some part, this was about, I don't know, 10, 15 yards away from the family compound, where they buried her. Now, I then decided of what I was going to do, because when people die, especially back home, they like to do a memorial a year after, and I'm not really into memorials, because memorials to me is very much a final process. So what did I do? I decided to do a monument, something that would live on in their name, if you like, or live on in the way they live their life, because we all know one of the things is good food. Now, we all know that good food is cooked with love. Any food you've eaten and you've enjoyed, you can tell the difference quite starkly between anything that's been slapped together and something that has been worked over with precious, delicate care and love. So you know the difference between food that's cooked with love and one that isn't. And hence, and then the idea of opening a restaurant popped into my head one day when I was sitting in a Ghanaian restaurant somewhere in Streatham. I decided, you know what I wanted to do? You know, I needed to move my life forward now, because my dad passed 6 months after my mother. I'd got my brother back from Nigeria because he was out there and he had relapsed in a very, very severe way. So I brought him back to the UK. We took him to the hospital. Rehabilitation took 9 months. I spent 5 days out of 7 going to the hospital in the mental health ward, while you know, helping him to wash, helping him to dress, cooking food and bringing that to him so that his body can be nourished before they started their treatment and before he could bring himself back to life, if you like. So once I had accomplished all this, which took roughly a year, I was sitting down just catching my breath in an African restaurant. It was a Ghanaian restaurant, and it just dawned on me that I should open a restaurant. Now, I've opened the restaurant. The restaurant is now open, so that's good. That took a year to do, and we had our challenges, and that's another video. I'll tell you all about how I got this restaurant open and up and running. The restaurant is called Ulumma B. Ulumma is the name of my mother, and B is the name of my sister. So I named this restaurant after them. I figured that, you know, this monument I talk about is that their energy, their love, their spirit, that would endure forever, and people can come into this atmosphere, they come into this restaurant and they experience the kind of energy, the kind of passion, the kind of love, the kind of spiritual energy that transcends a lot of things in this restaurant. And people have come and you know, they've told me how wonderful and how much they've really enjoyed their experience here. So I decided to do a tips booklet, and the tips booklet was on the 7 deadliest sins, or 7 deadliest diseases killing Afro-Caribbeans, and the seemingly obvious small steps you can take to avoid these silent assassins. Because in these 7 deadly diseases, my sister and my mother were victims of them. My sister died of ovarian cancer and my mother died of a stroke. Now, with this booklet, which I have written, I'm not a nutritionist. However, I have spoken to a nutritionist and I did a lot of research, both on the internet and talking to people. And I put together this tips booklet of the 7 deadliest diseases that attack and kill many people in our communities, both in the Afro-Caribbean community and definitely in the African community, and it's now spreading to other communities. And it's really, you know, food can do one of 2 things. It can harm you and it can heal you. And we've had examples of this over the years of, you know, people dying of certain, you know, abuse of food, whether they're saturated fats, whether high cholesterol, whether there's lots of oil, alcohol abuse, etc. The list will go on and on and on. But we also know that there's certain food groups, some superfoods that we can eat that not only can reverse a lot of what's going on in our bodies when we are challenged by certain ailments. But it also can maintain and strengthen and keep you healthy and keep your life going on and on and on. So I put this tips booklet together, and it's free. It's for you. It's a gift from Ulumma B. It's a gift from me. It's a gift from my mum and my sister. I want you to have this book. Now, it's quite easy how to get hold of this book. 3 things, just 3 steps. On this video, if you look down at the bottom of your screen, you will see an option box to put in your name and your email address. Please do that. Please do that at the end of the video. Do that now, fill it in, and once you fill that details, it will take you through a series of commands which will let you confirm that you are not a robot, and confirm that yes, this is a genuine email address and you are now part of the Ulumma B experience. Part of completing this task will also allow you to know the different things we'll be doing at Ulumma B. I've got some themed events that I'm going to be doing, perhaps Monday, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and maybe Friday and Saturday. Also, you'll be aware of any sales promotions that we're doing and any offers that we have for you, because we're looking at doing something where women can have free drinks all night. I have to decide what night I'm going to do that. So that might be useful to some of you. And the third thing is you will become part of something special. You'll become part of something unique. Ulumma B has already got the eyebrows and ears raised, wondering what is going to be happening here. And I've done a quick video on some of my customers and what they've said. That's another video which I shall be posting soon. So if you want to know more, I'm more than happy to tell you more. Just ask some questions. I will put a comment box under this video, so if you have any questions that you want me to answer, please put those questions in. I will do my best to answer every single one of them. And as they say here at Ulumma B, you are always welcome here. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the other side.